Hi there, fellow sea glass lovers. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Jackie, and this is part 9 in my 12-part video series I'm doing to create a sea glass mosaic on this very large antique window. Now, this is a 12-pane window, so 1 pane of glass for each video in this 12-part series, and in each video I'm going to teach you a lesson on creating sea glass mosaic art. And today's lesson is how to create movement. And the lesson for the day on movement is that to create movement is to bring your sea glass piece to life. So if you don't have much movement in your sea glass piece, it's going to sit fairly flat and look not as interesting as if you create some movement in your piece. So my first tip for creating movement in your sea glass mosaic art is to embrace the organic nature of sea glass. Mosaic art with sea glass is very different than traditional tile mosaic art, because with tiles, you take your tile cutter and you cut the piece of tile exactly the shape and the size that you want it. Whereas with sea glass, I use the sea glass as it's found. So I want to really embrace the organic shape that nature has given me. The second tip I would give you is to think about what's happening in nature. So here I am creating these blades of grass, and I'm thinking about the fact that they're blowing in the wind. So I want them to kind of flow and move a little bit. So if I put pieces together that are changing because of their organic shape, then it can kind of create some wave back and forth. And if you follow me on YouTube, you know that I do quite a few seascapes. And when I'm doing the water part of a seascape, I often think about the fact that the waves are flowing and there's a lot of movement happening in the waves. So then as I'm creating the sea glass and putting all the sea glass together to fill in the water, I'm often creating these waves as I go. So just by thinking about nature as you're working, it can really help you get the effect that you're going for. So the third tip I would give you would be to create lines not just vertically but horizontally as well. So I'm picking pieces of sea glass that fit really nicely beside one another so that I get these lines going across of the white. So it contrasts with these vertical flowing lines of grass and these horizontal flowing lines of ripples in the background water. And the fourth tip that I would give you would be to add something stationary, because here I've got some stationary lily pads here, and there's part of one here. And if something is standing still at the same time that you're getting a fair amount of movement, it really does help emphasize your movement. It's just that contrast between moving and stationary that really does help emphasize that. So then I added a few strips of brown grasses here, which will continue in the pane down below, and that adds a little bit more movement again. And I quite like how I've got these strands of grass flowing and moving more than the strands of grass in the pane of glass beside it. Just emphasizes the fact that these are blowing in the wind. So I really hope you found this video helpful, and be sure to join me in my next video when I'm going to do a lesson on how to create a sea glass mosaic from a photo. I really want to put a cool inukshuk in this piece, and I'm going to do the inukshuk from a photo. So I'll show you how I do that. And until next time, I hope you make it out to the beach, and happy sea glass hunting.